Hey everyone, Sagar here. We're all familiar with that feeling of being stuck in the 9 to 5 grind. You wake up, you work, you come home exhausted, and then you do it all over again. But what if I told you that there's a reason why work feels this way, a reason that goes beyond just having a case of the Mondays? Today we're diving into the ideas of Karl Marx, a 19th century philosopher whose work is still incredibly relevant to understanding our modern world, especially when it comes to work. So, buckle up because we're about to explore the surprising connections between Karl Marx and your everyday work life. First up, let's talk about alienation. Marx argued that in many jobs, especially under capitalism, workers become alienated from their labor. Imagine you're working on an assembly line, attaching the same part to the same product, hour after hour, day after day. The product you're building doesn't feel like yours, even though your labor is what's creating it. You don't own the tools you use, you don't control the design of the product, and you don't get to decide how it's sold or who gets to buy it. You're basically just one tiny cog in a massive machine. This alienation doesn't just apply to factory work. It can happen in all sorts of jobs, from office work to service industry jobs. This feeling, Marx argued, is a direct result of the capitalist system where the focus is on profit above all else, even the well-being of the workers. Ever put in a ton of effort at work only to see a tiny fraction of that reflected in your paycheck? You, my friend, have experienced surplus value. Marx argued that the value of a product isn't just determined by the cost of materials and overhead, but by the labor that goes into creating it. Workers create more value through their labor than they are paid in wages. This extra value, the surplus value, is where profit comes from. And guess who gets to keep most of that profit? Not the workers who created it. This system, Marx argued, is inherently exploitative. The more productive workers are, the more surplus value they create for the owners of capital. It's the struggle to reclaim some of that surplus value, to bridge the gap between what we contribute and what we receive in return. Chapter 3. False consciousness. The system that tells you to love it. If the system is so rigged against workers, why do we put up with it? Marx believed that one reason is something he called false consciousness. False consciousness is the idea that the dominant beliefs and values of a society are often the ones that benefit the ruling class, even if those beliefs harm the working class. These beliefs are so ingrained in our culture, so pervasive in our media and education systems, that we often don't even question them. Think about the idea of the American dream, for example. It's this idea that if you just work hard enough, you can achieve anything, regardless of your background. False consciousness keeps us playing by the rules of a game that's rigged against us. We blame ourselves for not making it instead of questioning the rules of the game itself. Chapter 4. Class struggle, the engine of change. At the heart of Marx's analysis is the concept of class struggle. Marx saw history as a series of struggles between different classes, each with their own interests. In capitalist societies, the main struggle is between the bourgeoisie, the owners of the means of production, and the proletariat, the workers who sell their labor to the bourgeoisie. These two classes have fundamentally different interests. The bourgeoisie want to maximize profits, often by keeping wages low and productivity high. The proletariat, on the other hand, want fair wages, decent working conditions, and control over their own labor. This tension, this fundamental conflict of interest, is what drives social change, according to Marx. Think about all the major labor movements throughout history: the fight for the 8-hour workday, the push for unions, the movement for a minimum wage. So what can we take away from all of this? Well, for one, Karl Marx might have been onto something. His ideas about alienation, surplus value, false consciousness, and class struggle can help us understand why work can feel so frustrating and unfair, even in the 21st century. By understanding these dynamics, we can start to see the systems we live in with greater clarity, and that clarity can be empowering. It allows us to ask critical questions about the nature of work, the distribution of wealth, and the very structure of our society. If you found this exploration of work and society insightful, Hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more insights on work, society, and what drives it all.